Want the perfect room for your upcoming Disney World trip? Here are the ways that you can request it. Hi, I'm Shannon from WDWPrepSchool.com, and I'm here to talk to you today about how to do room requests for your Disney World resort stays. This is something that comes up a lot, and the methods for this have recently changed, so I wanted to talk through it with you. The first thing to know is that you need to book the right room category. This is the most common mistake that people make when you go to choose a resort. Within that resort, there are going to be several categories of rooms. So for instance, the Animal Kingdom Lodge, there are Savannah View rooms and Standard View rooms, or at most values and moderates, there are standard rooms and preferred rooms. There are multiple categories at the different resorts. So you don't want to book a category and then request something that isn't even located there. You need to book the category that is appropriate for where you want to be. As a side note, Disney almost never will upgrade a request for free if you want a specific view or building that falls into a higher price tier, like preferred versus standard or standard view versus Savannah. You're gonna need to go ahead and book that category first. I have had this happen before where at Animal Kingdom Lodge, for instance, I booked a standard room and I was upgraded to Savannah, but I didn't request it, I didn't expect it, and it was only because the hotel was so empty. But the hotels aren't that empty these days, and so I wouldn't count on it. I would just go ahead and book the category that you want, and then within that category, you can make requests about where you want to be more specifically. How do you know what to book and what to request? Well, there's lots of ways that you can research that. There are YouTube videos on this channel and others. There are resort forums and groups, and there are resort maps. We have maps of the resorts that show, for instance, which buildings are preferred and which ones aren't. And TouringPlans has a room finder that you can use to see which room is the best fit for you. One of the things we get asked about the most is Caribbean Beach Resort, which makes it really confusing because when you book a preferred room there, you could be in one of three areas: near the main building and the main pool, or the main Skyliner hub, or the Riviera Resort and their Skyliner hub. So if you want to be near any of those three things, you would need to book a preferred room and then make the request of which one of these areas are you interested in being in. So we've got the hotel and the right room category booked. Now what? How do we get more specific? So there are a few different methods for making requests within your room category. One thing that is no longer available is faxing in requests. This was an option for a very long time, but this option has gone away. But there are a couple different ways that you can still do it, and I'm going to tell you about those now. The first is to use the official online check-in process. Now, some people, I've been seeing it in my social media feeds, have been telling people not to do the online check-in because the theory is that if you skip the online check-in process, that you can then go to the front desk and make your request to a human in person. But that's just not how it works. If you don't put in requests, your room is still going to get assigned before your arrival, but you're not going to have any requests on file, so your chances of getting the things that you want are very slim because you didn't make your requests. What I would suggest doing is go ahead and do any online check-in process, and then if you don't get what you want, then going to the front desk. But we'll talk about that in a minute. Let's talk about how online check-in works. Online check-in can be done within the My Disney Experience app or a browser, and this process includes a few different things, including putting a credit card on file, choosing a PIN number, but then there's a section for room requests. It actually is a little bit hard to find. It used to be more obvious, but if you select it, you will get two drop-down menus that are pre-populated with things that Disney is giving you as room requests. These are things like near elevator, ground floor, highest floor, near transportation. They're sort of broad categories that actually would work for a lot of people. This is typically what I do for my own trips. You can make up to two, and if these general requests are good enough for you, then this is probably all that you need to do. However, for a lot of people, these are very generic, and you cannot type in like a specific room number or building number here. It's just a general request. If you're not sure where to find the online check-in process, if you're within a browser, log into your My Disney Experience account, click on My Plans, and scroll down to where your resort is, and there will be a button to start your check-in process. If you are on your phone, then open the My Disney Experience app. In the lower right, click the hamburger menu, click hotel reservations, and you can start the check-in process from there. There is a checkbox in this process that says, I prioritize the room being ready early, which might override your specific location request. So if you want your room request, don't check that box in the process. Just go ahead and leave that one unchecked. It might take a little bit longer to get your room to fit your request, but your request will be taken more into consideration. Okay, so that's how to make general requests, but let's say that you want to get more specific. The next tip for this and the next method for this is that you want to have a note added to your account. And getting a note added to your account can be done by calling or using the My Disney Experience app. This is actually the method that we have been suggesting for a few years because I think it is the best. If you want to use the in-app chat, you use the Chat with Us feature, and you can give them a specific room number or building and then ask them to add it as a note to your reservation. The other method is to call. That number is 407-939-1936. This is the resort reservations line, and cast members here can add a note in the same way that the chat cast members can add a note, but some people prefer to call, and this will let you get more specific than that generic digital online check-in. And let's talk about once you arrive, what to do once you arrive. Sometimes you'll get a text or you'll see it in the app that your room is ready and the room that you are assigned isn't what you wanted. It doesn't match your request. And so what I would suggest at this point is don't go to your room, don't tap into your room, go to the front desk at this point because then the cast members can help you. Just be super polite. A lot of times the cast members are not treated very well, so being polite goes a long way. Hopefully you're going to do that anyway, whether or not I suggest it or not. But just say something like, hi, we just got our room assignment. We were really hoping for something closer to X because of this reason. Is there anything else currently available in that area? That can be super helpful to get you moved around. Once you tap into the room, the cast members often lose some control over your reservation and it's harder to move you. Not that it's impossible, I've done it before. But I would suggest go ahead and stopping by the front desk before going to the room if you know the location isn't ideal. So those are my tips for room requests. Hopefully that is helpful. I actually just did online check-in for my upcoming Disney World trip. I'm hoping for a quiet room. I usually will choose a room that is on a higher floor and usually facing away from the busier areas so that I can have a quieter time in the room, but everyone's gonna have different things that they prioritize. Let me know if you have a method that has worked for you or if you have any questions and leave those in the comments. Thanks for watching.